Personal growth is going to be painful sometimes, but let the pain motivate you and help you go to the next level. A lot of times, the things that we fear when we face them aren't as scary as we thought. And then when we get victory over those things, there's no confidence builder like that. Hello, this is Lorraine, and welcome to Healthy Living, Spirit, Soul, and Body. So I hope you liked last week's video about comfort zones. And I realized as I was putting the video together that it really is an exhaustive topic. And I kind of wanted to do Get Out of Your Comfort Zone Part 2 this week. So as you can see, some of it was filmed last week. And I'm going to add it to this, and I'm going to add a few things because really pain is really an amazing thing. Pain can be the best motivator to get you out of your comfort zone. In a perfect world, it would be your vision, it would be your drive, it would be the things that you desire in your life. But a lot of times, that takes a lot of effort, and people would rather stay in a place of comfort. However, when you get in enough pain and enough stress, you want to get out of it. And you'll do whatever it takes to. So I thought I would tell the story. Last week I talked about the butterfly and getting out of the cocoon, but this week I'm going to talk about the lobster. And it's funny, a lobster is a very soft animal that lives inside a shell. And as the lobster grows, it gets more and more uncomfortable in that shell, so it goes under a rock or into a protective spot, sheds its shell, and then has room to grow again until it gets too big on the inside for that shell and has to shed the shell, and it goes through this process a couple of times. But the thing is that the lobster eventually gets too uncomfortable in that shell, and it's very stressful and painful. And rather than escaping the pain and stress, which the lobster really can't do, it breaks out of the shell. But how many times in our own life, when we're in a place of stress and pain, we look for something to alleviate that pain? And really, the best thing to do is to learn from it. Use pain as a motivator to get you out of your comfort zone. I have a picture here. This is when I was about 22 years old. I have made so many different changes in my life and broken out of so many different comfort zones to get where I am right now. And in order to really grow, in order to really thrive and be all that you can be, you have to just get used to getting out of your comfort zone. So I just wanted to talk real quick about an experience that I had in my 20s. And I was going through a very rough time. Now, I had been going to a really good church, and I kind of knew all the lingo about what to say and how to deal with trouble and how to pray and all these different things. But I was going through a rough time, and I got this book by Charles Capps called How to Avoid Tragedy and Lead a Better Life. And I said to myself, man, I really want to lead a better life. I'm not very happy where I am right now. And I started reading it, and I started realizing that I had to start making changes in my own life, that I had to actually do the things that I had been preaching to everybody else, that I realized to myself, hey, I got to actually live this stuff. You mean to tell me that I have to actually start living this stuff? And it wasn't easy, and it was very hard. But you know what? If I had stayed there, I would have never grown. I would have never been the person that I am now. So I took the step, and even though it wasn't easy, and even though it was extremely hard, I started actually applying the different things that I knew to my own life. I had to actually start doing my advice, and that's how I finally started growing. And there have been so many different times of growth in my own life, but that's what it's all about. And a lot of times people are in almost like a prison because they're staying in a place that's safe. So today I'm going to talk about 4 ways that you can make your pain work for you. Just like with myself, when I was going through that tough time, I knew that I had to do what was not comfortable. I knew that I had to actually start changing some things in my life to get myself out of that uncomfortable place. And so let's talk about the 4 things that we can do to help pain work for us. So these 4 things come from John Maxwell's book, 15 Laws of Growth, which is one of my favorite books of his. And this is actually from one of his chapters called The Law of Pain. And he really talks about how you can use pain as a great motivator for growth. How can you grow from pain? How can you make pain work for you? Okay? So the first thing that you can do to help pain work for you is you can choose a positive life stance. And a positive life stance is a person's overall way of looking at things. Are you a positive person or a negative person? Do you see the glass as half full or half empty? And this is a great quote from the book. It says, "Life isn't the way it's supposed to be. It is what it is." It is what it is, but it's how you deal with it that makes all the difference, right? Let's face it, you live in this world that's not a perfect world. You're not in paradise, and everybody has to deal with these things that come up in their lives. But it's how you deal with it. You can't control a lot of times what happens to you, but you can control how you react to it. So when you have a positive life stance, when you have a positive way of looking at things, in general, if you prepare yourself, in a sense, for the challenges of life, it's going to help you, and it's going to help you get victory over your pain a whole lot faster, because it's how you look at things that really makes the difference. So in my case, I started reading that book, and I believed that reading the book was going to help me, even though it was painful, even though I really didn't want to do it. I knew at the end that there would be a lot of fruit, that it would actually work, that it would actually bring life into my life. In the same way, you have to have faith that it is possible to get out of your pain. It is possible to get free. And really the way to do that is constantly be feeding your faith, constantly be preparing yourself to have a healthier mindset. The second thing you can do is embrace and develop your creativity. This is a great story that came from John Maxwell's book, 15 Laws of Growth. And he talks about this farmer who had a farm, and he had chickens, okay? And every springtime, his farm would get flooded and the chickens would die, okay? The chicken coop would be underwater. And he tried whatever he could. And so he went to his wife and he says, you know, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. I don't want to sell the farm. I don't want to move. But every year, my chickens are dying. And so the wife said, buy ducks, okay? And you might say, that's a pretty funny story, right? But the bottom line is, she thought creatively. It's like, all right, we can't keep this from happening. And there may be certain things in your life that you can't keep from happening, but what can you do? How can you change the circumstances so they're now in your favor? And that is something that takes a little creativity. So the third thing that you can do is embrace the value of bad experiences. How can you make your pain work for you? Where there's no struggle, there's no progress. And I just wanted to, you may have seen this video that I did a while ago about when I was 50, my son, who was 13, passed away. Okay, it was extreme pain. I mean, it was terrible situation in my life, but it caused me to realize that I had just been existing, and that I no longer wanted to be comfortable in my suffering. I really wanted to be free. And it literally changed the trajectory of my life, okay? And that's a way really that awful situation was positive for me. Going back to the lobster, if the lobster wasn't growing, he wouldn't be uncomfortable. He wouldn't have to shed its shell. But because he was growing, that's what caused the pain and the struggle. If he didn't struggle, he would never grow bigger and stronger. Okay, growth really, personal growth is going to be painful sometimes, but let the pain motivate you and help you go to the next level. And the fourth thing that you can do to help pain work for you, you can make good changes after learning from bad experiences. Just like I just mentioned, good came from a terrible experience that my son passed away, but it helped me to realize that I needed to live and not exist. And even things like heart attacks, which are awful, where the person could die, will help them to live healthier, will help them to exercise, will help them to eat healthier. So a terrible experience can push you out of your comfort zone. So I hope you enjoyed part 2 of getting out of your comfort zone. You know, I love what John Maxwell says. He says that experience isn't the best teacher, but it's experience that you learn from that's the best teacher. And really, when you think about it, all these things that we've been talking about, pain, is all about learning from your pain. A lot of times we want to avoid thinking about certain things and facing certain things in our life. We just want to get comfortable. We want to pull the covers over our head and pretend that it's not really there. But unfortunately, things like that just don't go away, and eventually you're going to have to face it. And you don't want that to be on your deathbed, okay? I'm just being real. So the best thing for you to do is start facing the things in your life that are uncomfortable and really growing from them. A lot of times pain can force you to look at yourself. And isn't that true? Because a lot of times we're in the place where we're at because of something that we did. It's something we have to take responsibility for our lives and realize, that we are where we are because of the choices that we made. And we need to take a look at ourselves to see, how can I change? How can I grow from this? Break out of the lobster shell and really grow and learn. So I hope you take these things to heart. If you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe and like the video, and look at things a little bit differently. Don't run away from your problems. Face them. The things that we fear when we face them aren't as scary as we thought. And then when we get victory over those things, there's no confidence builder like that. So have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.